is Alisha Lovrich and I'm a sports photographer, and I'm talking to you all the way from Auckland, New Zealand. So how did I get into sports photography? Well, growing up, I never really actually had an interest in photography. I was more into the fine art, painting, drawing, illustration space. So I continued that all the way through high school, and I also went to university, studied a Bachelor of Graphic Design, wanting to pursue a career in more illustration-led design. And it wasn't until in first year of my graphic design degree, a core component of that was photography. So I reluctantly went out and bought a camera. I bought just a Canon 600D, real basic, thinking that, okay, when I'm done with this, it'll be very handy to use this camera to take high resolution photographs of my art, really. But when I started the course, the paper, I fell in love with it instantly. It was suddenly because in all spaces of like art and design, the key components are the same. Your composition, your lighting, your mood, your color, all those generally translate throughout all genres of creative art space, if you want to say. And so what I loved about photography was that all the aspects that I would normally put into my art was pretty much instant. Like you'd plan it to its point and then you take a picture of it and you can see the result. Whereas, when you're painting something, you draft it out, but then you got to actually paint it. And then you find out soon enough if it's actually what you want or not. So that's what I loved about it. I didn't actually want to go into more the sports space. I wanted to kind of expand my horizons a little bit more and look at the different aspects, because I didn't want to pigeonhole myself leaving university. So my projects during university were not based on sport, they were based on a whole bunch of other stuff I can't even remember. But how the sport aspect comes in is my entire life I've been very involved in sport to like a reasonable level, like provincial, like national level. And through primary school I played a bunch of sport, and I narrowed that down in high school to cricket, football and athletics, gradually knocking them all off until I was left with just athletics. So athletics was a massive part of my life. But when I was leaving school, so finished school, I was dealt with a very long string of injuries actually. So the first year I was injured during the major points of the season, your provincial and national championships. And I decided I would bring my camera to the track to take pictures of my friends and put them up on Facebook for my friends. That was it. I didn't go in thinking, I really want to be a sports photographer, I'm going to go in and start shooting and I'm suddenly going to be paid. But I went in just being like, I'm just going to have some fun, I'm just going to use my camera because I bought this thing and might as well, and I'm going to support my friends. And that's all I did. Suddenly, people saw my work on social media, on Facebook, through my page and my friends sharing it, and I started to get noticed. And I got noticed from Athletics Auckland, which is our provincial body, and they said to me hey, we really like your stuff. This was unpaid at the stage, you pretty much can have an all the time accreditation to go into the stadium and then shoot what you like. So I did, and I only did that for fun. I did it when I wasn't competing, which was a lot because I seemed to be always injured all the time. So I would just shoot what I like for fun, and eventually I got noticed by our national body, Athletics New Zealand. So massive thank you to them for believing in me from the start, and the rest came from there. I started shooting all our national athletics events, and from there other sports started noticing me, and a local agency also saw me, and I shot a little bit of other sports for them. I also shot other sports for just other organizations just because they saw my athletics work around, and the rest is history. And from here, it's now I'm a full-time photographer now. It's not just sport. I do a lot of commercial and editorial and event type work, but that's literally how I started, and it is just skyrocketed from there. So I am very grateful. So what courses and advice have I had? Well, because I love photography so much at university, I started taking photography as electives all the way throughout my degree. So photography became a large section of my graphic design qualification. And through those papers, I learnt, you learn the fundamentals of just basic composition through design school, but I learned more specific fundamentals to photography through those papers. I got to play with studios, I got to play with lighting, I got to play with a whole bunch of things, and I got to learn how to use the camera, technicalities of using a camera, as well as a whole bunch of, other stuff around photography, all the other fundamentals on how to take photos, pretty much how to convey and communicate stuff. And that's the aspect of still what I do in photography. I don't just go out there and take pictures. I want to communicate something, which I think that's driven all the way down from my raw learnings of photography. In the sport aspect, I took that information that I got, combined it with my pre-existing knowledge of sport, and that was how I developed my sports photography work. I follow a lot of sports photographers on Instagram as inspiration, and I talk to a lot of them when I see them in the field. I admit that I'm still quite young in comparison. In comparison to some of the other guys out there, I'm very inexperienced. So I know that, and I still kind of want to take as much information and learn as much as I can, because honestly, the day you stop learning is the day you die. Like you have to just keep working, keep pushing, keep learning new skills. Otherwise, you're done. One of the best pieces of advice that I got was from my friend Jeff Cohen, who is an American based track and field photographer, literally one of the best track and field athletics photographers in the world. And I've got to meet him through the 2 world championships that I have photographed, one in London and one in Doha last year. And we kept in touch and became friends. And something that he always used to tell me is, look to see what no one else is shooting. You see a massive bunch of people. To a point, there is times when you do need the money shot for your client, but there is, everyone's getting this shot, but what's the other shot? What other angles and what other stories and what other like awesome compositions can you capture from somewhere else? Always thinking about what else is out there, and I've always taken that on. My favorite sporting event to photograph, as you have probably figured out, is athletics by far. There is just so much variety you can capture in an athletics event. You've got so many different events, running, jumping, throwing, so many opportunities to create really cool images. I do also like photographing the more extreme sports, just because I think it's just amazing human feats out there of what these athletes are doing, and you can create really cool images when a human is flying in the air. Some of sports photographers I admire, Jeff Cohen is one of them, as well as my friend Howard Lau from America, and Jason Suarez, who's also an American. These guys I've hung out with in Doha, and I meet all the world championships and become friends with, and they are amazing. I have a list below me because I'll forget. Naomi Baker, Angelo Smyers, Ian Walton, Joe Markland, Alex Meagle, again one of my friends from the athletics world, and also Cam McKenzie from my hometown. He does more cycling, mountain biking stuff, and I think his stuff is really great as well. But there are so many more out there that inspire me. I probably left a whole bunch off the list that I follow on Instagram. I think it's always good to see, you gotta be careful of comparison anxiety, I know that, but it's also good to constantly see what other people are doing, because that does help you push yourself further, So yeah. So how would I describe the state of women's sport in general and how we can improve it globally? Well, there is definitely a little bit of an inequality if you look around sports in general, but I do think we are on the rise. So we are actually doing things right to help improve, that shift. And definitely in the past 10 years and stuff, I was thinking 10 years ago I was I'm 26 now, so 10 years ago I was 16. And I do remember when I was 16 there wasn't a lot to look up to. Especially my main sport when I was 16 was football, and there wasn't a lot I could look up to, but now things are changing, and definitely the popularity stage, there is a shift. But I mean, you look at the Women's Football World Cup, and how many people watched it, how packed the stadiums were, and as well the hype around the Women's Football World Cup was amazing. They treated it, I felt that they treated it very close to the Men's World Cup in terms of hype and commercial and promotion and all that stuff. Now I think that is the best way that we can improve the view of women's sports, and kind of to help bring those barriers, is if we hype up those women the same as the men, then that just helps shift people's perception on female athletes, pretty much. And there's a lot of commercials that were surrounding the Football World Cup that were amazing. There's this one by Nike, which was super inspirational, and it really put the footballers on a pedestal and made them heroes. Now I feel like that is, that's a very powerful way that we can help shape female athletes as being powerful, and also the sport being really enjoyable to watch. That's all that, those brands have so much power, they have so much money behind them, they have this creativity that they can make really powerful pieces like that can be shown worldwide. So I think, that's probably one of the best ways to improve it, as well as how we document women in media. Now, as a sports photographer, when I photograph women, I always, strong, powerful, athletic, talented, just things that I would also, when I shoot men, that's exactly the same way. So that's how I do it, and it's just things like that, even how we talk about female athletes in press as well, the words we use, using words like strong and powerful and, talented and fast and, triumph, real big, good words. I'm not a journalist, so, my word figuring out isn't as good as some others can be, but kind of using ways that you describe female athletes will help huge in changing the perception of how we view women's sport. And I do feel like we're on the rise. I do feel like we're going to have a new era in women's sport. I have been seeing this as well in other codes. I know cricket in the Australia, they've got they have big smashes of the week or something on this, and they have women and men highlights. They have best shots of the week and stuff, and they mix it up and they hype them the same. Now that's the key, is they're both hyped up the same, and then you start seeing not oh, that's just a girl, but that's an athlete, and so that helps also change this perception of that. I know World Athletics, they actually do a really good job. And, when you look at all their content, they post based on performance, right? It's not based on gender, they don't necessarily put a guys, what performance is the best, And that's, that makes me proud to be part of a sport like that. From the literal top, they are supporting this equality thing. So, I think we're definitely we're definitely on the rise. We just have to keep pushing it, keep showing women as being strong and powerful and everything, and that will just help, with the popularity and showing it on TV as well. And so I think we're on the way up, guys. What can the rest of the world learn about New Zealand and our promotion of women's sport? Well, New Zealand actually does a pretty good job at this. So, like I mentioned before, it's got to start from the top. Now, our own government backs this. So we have a whole new initiative which is focusing on women in sport. Government has actually invested in this as well. So that's amazing to see how dedicated they are from the top. And then not only that, is all the national bodies of sport, they need to support it too. So if you don't start at the top, it's so hard, to help from the bottom. If you at the top is supporting it, it's a lot easier for the rest of the chain to also follow. So we have the All Blacks and the Black Caps. They will always get prime spots. That's just that might not change for a while, and that's kind of fine. Those are because also our Silver Ferns, women's netball team, they also get a whole lot of primetime spotlight. So, you know, like, All Blacks are probably always going to be at the top. That's just, you know, that's probably not going to change, but it's the difference, you know. It's also how close are the other sports or other women's sports, you know. We do hype our Black Ferns, who's our women's rugby team, a lot, you know, which is awesome. They also, you know, sometimes they'll play just before the All Blacks as well. So we are, you know, New Zealand Rugby are definitely taking measures and keeping and making the women's sport just as popular as the men. Now that's a real big struggle in New Zealand, but also like the other sports as well. Like when Olympics and Commonwealth Games are on, a lot of time in news media, what is covered is actually based on performance. We have had plenty of women on the front cover of the newspaper, whether it's positive or negative, either or. So we have actually had them on the front cover is based on performance, which is awesome. And I actually took a quick Google before this to see, I just Googled most popular New Zealand athletes in the Rio Olympics. And the top 5 that came up on my screen, 3 of those were guys. Sorry, 3 of them were girls. And the first one that was shown was Dame Valerie Adams, which is awesome. So that's what Google sprung up at me, and I think that's, you know, I think it's basing on what everyone else has been looking at. And I've noticed also in our advertisement and promotion of Olympics and Commonwealth Games is very equal. You know, it's not male dominated ads at all. You know, they are really equal and who's being promoted and stuff. So I think, yeah, it's a good way to follow. New Zealand is definitely, like, I feel like we're one of the leading countries when it comes to equality just in general, as well as equality in sport. And so I feel like other countries just take a look at what we're doing from, you know, not only from the top, but all our national bodies and how, you know, in broadcasting and media, we have a lot of like talkback shows, whereas on radio or TV, you know, the panel is mixed. Like, it's not all men's panel and it's not all women's panel. There's a mix, which is, I think, makes for way better television, because there's like, you know, there's a dynamic that goes on with it as well. So that all helps, and it also helps us see, you know, women's reporters out there. You know, like all women commentating. Like, it's great to see them out there, because you're like, oh, you know, this isn't, in New Zealand, it's suddenly not as much of a man's game anymore. And I think that's really awesome. Who are my favorite sportswomen and why? So obviously I'm gonna kick this list off with one of my good friends, who is Eliza McCartney, who is an Olympic medalist and a Commonwealth Games medalist, and she's also the 4th best pole vaulter of all time outdoors, which is pretty incredible. And you know, she's from my hometown, New Zealand, and yeah, I think I'm not just being biased because she's my friend, but I think she's very inspiring in the way that she's just so positive. You know, like even when things go a bit sour, like, you know, you might not know, but you know, back home, you know, everyone knows that she's been struggling with injuries for the past year, forcing her to pull out of the World Championships. But like, you know, no matter what, she's just a real positive person, and I think that's really inspiring. And the other thing is, like, Eliza has fun out there. And you know, it's a real eye-opener to be like, if you're not having fun, why are you doing it? So, you know, that's like, Eliza's great like that, because she shows, you know, she's out there to have fun. No matter the stage, she's out there to have fun, and I think that's something that you can really take into like everyday life as well. Next will have to be Dame Valerie Adams. If you don't know her, Google her. Like, you know, double Olympic champion, multiple world champion. If I listed all her titles, I might as well be introducing Daenerys Targaryen. You know, Val is incredible athlete, but not only that, she is bloody hilarious. You know, what I love about Val is she keeps it real. You know, follow her on social media, it is amazing. Whether she's out there absolutely kicking butt in the gym or out there on the field, but also showing what it's like to have 2 little kids and what it's like to be an elite athlete, you know, and a mum at the same time. And like, that's what I think is really inspiring, especially for women, to prove that, you know, you can have kids and still be out there, you know, doing sport and stuff. So yeah, Val's awesome, like, you know, she's great. And also I would say Sydney McLaughlin, who's a 400 meter hurdler from the USA. She's only 20 and she is already the second best 400 meter hurdler of all time. She's also hilarious online. I see there's a really good trend here. And then another one would be Lolo Jones, who is an former American sprint hurdler and bobsledder. She's bloody hilarious on the internet as well. So I really like, you know, I do like the funny ones. You know, I do value humility and, you know, like keeping it real and stuff. So yeah, that's my fave. So what is my advice for aspiring women in sports media? I would say just get out there, you know, and use what you already have. Like, are you already involved in the sport? You know, like, you're not necessarily an athlete, but an official or a coach, or your kid is in the sport. You know, like if it's something, just get out there and use that connection. That's what I did, and it's good to start with a sport you know. Because the thing with sports photography is you have to anticipate what's going to happen to a point. You know, that's how you can almost read the action to get those photos, is being proactive rather than reactive. Same in sport. So start with a sport you already know, and once you get really good at shooting that sport, you can almost take those fundamentals to other sports, and you find it, you know, after a while that even if you haven't shot a sport before, you can watch a bit of the warm-up and you can kind of still shoot it because you already know the fundamentals of the other sport that you have shot in the past. And then, you know, just start from there. Network, talk to people, you know, ask if you can shoot this event. You know, don't be afraid to start for free, because it's also like a good foot in the door on how, you know, in the future. And talk to other professional photographers, reach out to them on social media. You know, networking is your friend, and just get out there and keep shooting. You know, just keep shooting. It's exactly like sport. You have to train. And so just keep getting out there, keep shooting. When it's just like, you know, low-key games, or if it's, you know, bigger stuff, just keep shooting, keep your eye on the game. You know, that's probably the best advice I can give, is just keep going, don't get stale. So how am I coping during this lockdown? This is how I'm coping during this lockdown. No, seriously, apart from drinking wine, because what else am I supposed to do? I have been, you know, I've actually been out there photographing birds in my backyard. Actually, right here on the couch, sitting here ready, is I have a 5D Mark IV set up with a 1.4 converter and a 300 ready to go in case, you know, a cool bird pops up in my backyard. So that's what I've been doing, as well as shooting leaves and stuff like that. I do have a little bit of design work to work on. Now, you know, I talked about the graphic design degree. I do graphic design work for Athletics New Zealand, my governing body for my sport, which is awesome. So I still have a little bit of work for them to do. Other than that, I've been reading, eating, drawing, yeah. So I've still try hard to keep that up. It kind of helps my creative muscles tick along. What else have I been doing? Yeah, eating, working on my, I've been working on my website, which is something I've neglected because I'm slack. So keep posted. There is a new website almost done. By the time this video might be presented, it could be done already. And yeah, that's how I'm coping. It's alright, you know, it's not like we're going to war. We just have to stay home. It's like we can get through this and it's fine. So I'm turning my wine off now since I poured it. What have I learned about myself during this time? I've learned that I'm a human. You know, like I can't go 100 miles an hour like all the time. You know, especially at times like this when it is stressful. And so, honestly, this lockdown probably came in a really good time. I was super busy, just with so much work on. Just coming off our domestic athletics season, which is always busy, and I had a whole bunch of other work on. And I was, you know, when you're on the edge, maybe burning out, and you're just kind of surviving on coffee in the morning, you know, a glass of wine in the afternoon, you know, just kind of getting through and getting it done. And then this lockdown happened, so it was almost like I don't want to say blessing, but it was a force break. You know, the thing you have to, when you gotta control the controllables and the things you can't control, you just gotta leave. Now, instead of getting, sad that I lost my work because of coronavirus, I was like, hey, this is a good time to have a forced break, to recharge, to do things like work on my website, to read a book, to draw, to take pictures of birds in my backyard, kind of really using this time for myself. So that's something I can control. And it's okay to sit and watch Netflix all day. That's okay too, because this is a time that no one knows how to deal with. No one knows, what to expect. No one has given us advice to handle it. So it's okay, we're all human. That's something I've learned. I am also human. We're all human. And we just need to, treat ourselves like humans. So career ambitions are photograph at the Olympic Games. As in my sports photography career, as much that is an absolute dream. I actually have accreditation to photograph the Tokyo Olympic Games, so I was pretty close to achieving, that ultimate dream, but it's okay, I can wait a year, it's alright. So yeah, if anyone's out there, I'll see you there.